I
most
can get to it.
comfortable couch.
Oh, I know, I just was gonna say.
He just doesn't want to be in
I
the
just want to
Oh,
be in the
yeah,
pictures.
Oh,
So Monder June wanted me to ask you
201-540.
to talk about
Okay.
the Indian in the family.
Well, there's Indian on both sides of the
Well,
family.
she said she thinks it's the Marlows.
The Marlows were Indian,
Yeah,
and also
She has-
Grandma Bergen was Indian.
yeah.
She only got her name Bergen from her husband.
So I was like, well,
She
I
was
better
an Indian.
tell before
Yeah.
she leaves.
And,
You guys left when I was out there.
Yeah, and then I talked to him.
Her, her father and
In the far door dress door. it might be hard to
her
see.
father and her husband
Sounds pretty with it.
were in the Civil War together. In a
971 number.
all the time, but she always remember it's really good.
union.
Right.
Unions.
Or Alex.
Okay.
Now she was Indian.
Already.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that group
And her
thing,
dad- her
the
daddy was
917, is that,
Okay.
is that all little Arthur?
Nathaniel was his
Arthur's number is
name.
971.
Nathaniel.
Yeah, that's why I meant
Okay.
971.
And
was looking at the-
mom was
I was looking at the group.
absolutely positive for that.
Those are
Because she, and his name was,
Alex is
oh.
the cow, right?
she couldn't, I searched
Okay, I was trying to
for
figure out
20
who's who,
years
because I
to
figured
find
out
him in the
Burgers.
roll call to find him.
'Cause I didn't have
Oh, is that
Burgers
right?
per
Yeah,
se, so I was
she
just
knew
like,
his
oh.
name.
I'm like,
She knew
I'm like,
what-
those gotta be them,
what Grandma
971.
Bergen called him, but they couldn't find him. But I found him in the census,
Oh, okay.
and when I told her, they couldn't believe it.
Wow.
Yeah, that's it. Now, he come out of Kentucky, they got married in Kentucky,
Okay.
and so Grandma Bergen and all that. And she was an Indian out of Kentucky. her
Is
dad.
that the one you have a picture of? Okay.
That's Grandma Bergen.
Okay. And what kind of Indian was she? Was she?
Well,
She was Sioux or
So I think
Sioux?
she is the Sioux. The
Okay.
Cherokee is from
The-
Dad's side.
Okay.
Yeah, from the Roses and the
Oh, no, that's
what do you call it?
Bergen?
Queen
No, the Bergen.
Was
She
Sioux.
was a Sioux.
I remember
She
you,
was a Sioux.
we were sitting on the
Dowry?
porch outside
Huh?
Grandma's
Dowry?
apartment.
Was it, you're looking for
Doc-
another name?
Yeah,
Doherty?
I looked for
Was it Doherty?
Doherty.
Yeah.
Doherty. She was her daddy was
He's so happy.
Doherty. What was his name? I can't remember his first name. His given name.
You just-
But he
you see
right.
those
He
for the
was
first time?
a Sioux.
Okay.
And he was now they were in the Civil War together.
Oh.
The Dohertys and the Bergens. And so we think what happened was
Blonde hair.
she married she was the daughter of Doherty. Her daddy I forgot her name, but her daddy and Doherty was Doherty and Bergen were in the same company.
Okay.
And he was married, and they were in the war together. Him, the son-in-law and the father-in-law. But then his wife died, and they got the rumor what Mom told me was that he asked if his daughter would come and help take care of her children.
Yeah.
Or she had, I think her name was Wells, and asked if she would help take care of the children because she had 8 children, and
Right.
you know when the lady that had her had 8 children and she died.
Yeah.
You know, and he couldn't raise them,
Right.
so they come out. Yeah.
And that's how they ended up getting married, right?
Yeah, and she was something like 27, he was something like 54 or something, or 58, you know. But his father-in-law was in the same company during the Civil War in cavalry, and they rode the cavalry together.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Arthur, was she full Indian?
Who?
You're talking about Bergen,
Bergen?
the Bergen grandma?
Yeah, her daddy was full Indian. Her daddy
Full
was
Indian,
full,
yes,
her
'cause she
daddy
looks
was
like-
full, and she wasn't far behind. That's all I could, so, but that's what it said. So,
But
yeah,
Marlo was not full Indian.
no, Marlo was come from the Roses side. See, she's a Bergen, Grandma Bergen. See, she was full Indian too, and Mama was a Cherokee. Mama Rose was a Cherokee. And,
She had kind of like gray eyes and
yeah,
white.
she was, and she was a Sioux. She was Sioux, Bergen.
Well, she was mixed, right?
Well, we're not, well, who knows,
Or she didn't look Indian.
Be there at 1:30.
No, Grandma Rose, oh yeah, but she was. Well, she had a lot of Cherokee. She had a lot of Cherokee in her. So, Dad, that was,
Dalila was
So you get-
taken to visit her.
huh?
One, you
Dalila
can
was
use it
taken to
normally.
visit her out in the woods somewhere.
Oh yeah.
And she said there were, the others looked Indian.
Oh yeah, they were all Indian. What Indian showed more in the Petries, in Annie's family.
Yeah.
And that's where the Indian really showed in the Petries. But them days, they were on the woods,
Right, up in the hills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the way I get it, Mama Rose's family had a lot of property, owned a lot of the country, but crooked lawyers took it.
That's why I hate lawyers. They suck.
Yeah,
Yeah, too.
yeah, but
It's like, I hate.
yeah,
I don't like them.
that's what I heard from since I was a little boy. That the lawyers of them days, that's it.
I remember that man we talked to that lived right next to the cemetery,
Yeah.
and he said he knew them.
Yeah,
And he said they weren't as rich as people said they were.
yeah.
You remember him?
Yeah.
He died by the time I went back.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we went in his house and,
Yeah.
and he told us that.
We used to know where the cemetery is now in Jellicoe. On the hill, then by the railroad and everything. That we lived right over by there. Yeah. Oh, I loved every day in Jellicoe. But Dad too. Dad couldn't stay. He couldn't stay in Jellicoe because he couldn't find work. He couldn't find him a job, and he couldn't leave.
I still have
Because
that call.
It just kept drawing him back. And Mama was there, and
Excuse me?
only difference in Mama Rose, his mother, and him was one was mother, one was a son, one was a male, and one was a female. Other than that, they were just alike. They were just alike.
2 peas in a pod.
2 peas in a pod, you shake them, you didn't know which one would come out. They were just alike. Oh, Mama, she had a rough life. Cause, she met her husband, my grandfather, Jacob Sala Rose, out on the woods. Her and her sister were out there cutting timber for the railroad. That's where they were at when they met her.
That seems like a hard job for women.
Well, there wasn't no such thing as difference, If they had a child, period, a man or boy, or girl, if it needed hard work done with slinging an axe, that's the one that done it.
Wow.
And Uncle Earl told me one time about going out there to see them, that her sister that they'd cut timber with and stuff like that. Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, they did all that. Oh, the girls are just like the boys. They had a lot of them, because they had a lot of workers on the farm. The more children they had, the more workers they had.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, look at what Mondra June just put on Facebook.
Guess if it was me.
Yeah. Yeah. That's Denny
Uh-huh.
and Jay. Is that me?
That's you and Denny and Jay and Granny
Mom?
Rose.
Man. Granny Rose. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's probably the last time we was all three together.
It's on Facebook.
Can barely recognize Denny. He was just a kid.
Oh yeah,
That is
yeah, yeah.
you and Leslie.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. See, I was
Roger
born in
June, and I think
34, and he was born in 46.
And who's
48.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
wow.
Granny Rose, right?
He's a big strapping fella.
Yeah, he's taller than both of you guys.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So Wendy, her
Gee.
name is Rose Rose.
I got the short legs, he got the long legs.
Uh-huh.
I got the long body, and he got the long body. With
So
the
he got
short.
tall.
I got left out on the legs.
Where
Yeah, yeah.
And then if you turn it like that, just there you go.
Oh yeah, the kid. Oh yeah, yeah.
So I see it, Mondra June, Charlotte. Who's the other kids? Is it Jerry D?
Jerry D. That's Jerry D. Wonder June, Charlotte.
Is it Brian?
Jerry D. That's Brian.
Is that Brian? I was trying to think who was the
Yeah, that's
oldest.
Brian.
And I know I'm the baby in it.
Yeah, you're the baby.
Yeah.
Is that you?
I'm the one
The
giving you
baby's
the
you?
evil look.
That's you, that baby?
The baby, yeah, the one in diapers.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, Jerry D.
Because I couldn't think who the other kids were. I knew Mondra June was the oldest.
Yeah,
Roger, then me, then who?
Then Jerry D.
Jerry D.
And then
What
Brian.
did the D stand for in Jerry?
Denzel.
Denzel.
Yeah.
Denzel.
You know, your everyday average name.
Sure. I've only known one of those, and that's Washington.
What's that?
Denzel Washington.
Yeah, the actor.
I like him as an actor.
Oh,
I
yeah,
do
he's
too.
great.
I do too. He's my
But
favorite.
I think Jerry D spelled it D-I.
D-E-N-S-I. Yeah, yeah.
Really?
There's an I.
Yeah, I-O. Uh-huh. And Mondra June, she's all right. When I talk to Mondra June, I have to tell her, is this my lonely niece? Because she's the only niece I have.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, she's the only other girl.
That's been our talking point for many years. She's the only niece I have.
Yeah, that's right, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
No, nobody had both sexes except that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kids.
We're the
Yeah.
only one that have both sexes.
yeah. I never thought about that.
And I think you could flip it again. You might see another picture. Or up. Could maybe go up.
Oh, he went to the right. He saw.
Oh, did he go?
Oh,
Okay.
oh, there's some up too.
I think when you
That's
click it,
Charlotte
then you can
crawling
do that.
around
I don't think I have that
on her
one.
knees.
I
Yeah,
don't think I have that one we shot it on the. on
Yeah,
the-
Mondra June put those on.
yeah, did she? Yeah. Yeah, she's great.
Now there's another one. I'll find it for you, but it's you and it's all the kids, I think. Let me find it. Like all the kids in your family.
Pictures. Pictures.
Oh,
Like right here. Let's see if this is a bigger one like that.
Oh yeah, that's Jay and me and Valier and Damaris and Denny and Norfay. I think that's when I got I was in the Air Force 4 years and got out and went home and took that picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's when that was.
You look so young.
Oh yeah, I was young when I went in
We're
there.
looking
Yeah.
at it right now.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I told Mondra June that we were looking at her pictures right now.
Yeah. That's when they did a little work on that old house.
That's what I like Facebook for, is just looking.
I
at
do
it.
too.
I don't
That's
do
that's
how
the
it-
best
I
thing
don't
about
do
it.
much. And I don't look at food because then it makes me hungry.
I know. No.
But
That's what
there
Facebook
was
is.
always a shadow over all this year. Dad was drinking bad,
Oh.
and it really, and I think, and I hate to say it, but it's true. I think it hurt me more than anybody else. That I let it bother me,
Everybody else just let it go. Let's
Yeah, I couldn't turn it loose.
Mm-hmm.
and it was something that was between him and me that I couldn't turn loose. It just bothered me so much. Cause
Oh, yeah.
That's
You
why
know,
you don't. That's probably why you don't drink.
Cause Denny
I
and
tell you, I drank a
Yeah,
little bit of a
that's-
beer in 1965,
Uh-huh.
and I haven't drank one since.
Well, you know, I told Dad, I go, in a way, he learned what he didn't want to be in a father
Mhm.
from his father, and he learned how to be a good dad.
Yeah.
You know, it bothered me. You know, I was scared to death to take a drink, afraid I would turn out like Dad. And I know not what other people thought of him, I know what us kids thought of it, you know. And I was scared to death.
Yeah, I understand
No, I
that.
wouldn't.
Yeah,
I wouldn't. And Dad, to say, I'm not faulting him, because that's all he knew.
And they didn't have the help and.
Oh,
they-
no,
back
they were,
then.
Right.
no help is your family. If your family didn't stop you, nobody stopped you, you know? You know, yeah. It was everything. And of course, they didn't have no kind of programs or stuff like that. You drunk, you went to jail. It was what it was, you know. But Jay is clean. Jay is always clean. I used to tease him. He'd wear the suits and I wore the overalls.
he used to have curly blonde hair.
Did he?
Yeah,
And
oh
he
yeah.
only would use Breck shampoo.
You
You
would-
remember the Breck shampoo?
Yeah. You wouldn't have believed
That was for blonde hair.
no,
Pearl was the one who
He was a
when
dress.
Jay went in the Air Force,
Excuse me.
you would not believe how beautiful head of blonde hair he had. I mean, he hold his head over like this and it just splop. You know, I mean, just, you know, you see this woman that have real long hair, blonde hair, and they have this picture and they sling it around like that. That's what his hair was.
Wow.
But he went to basic training and they cut it off and it never come back. He never had it again.
Oh.
And he said it was the sun that burned his head.
Oh.
But I think it might be just been.
He was thinning out.
It was time.
Yeah, yeah. But I never argued with him and called him a liar, because then the fight would be on.
Tell him about when we were at the hotel in Jellicoe, and they stayed in the room. We shared the same room, and we were getting ready for bed, and he had taken a shower and he was gonna.
Oh yeah. Well, he's taking a shower, and trimming his hair and everything, and combing his hair. And I said, hey, Jayhawker. So I called him Dad, and I called him Jayhawker. Called Jayhawker. Dad started it, of course. He was always starting out naming somebody. And I called him Jayhawker today, because we called him that the rest of our life. And Jay started combing his hair and everything, sprucing up before the mirror. And I told him, you don't need all that comb. Break that thing in half and throw me half of it. I need to comb my hair. Yeah. But I didn't tease him very often, about it. But I figured I'd be involved before I got out of 20s, because you didn't keep your hair. And that's, some do and some don't. Now, E.B.'s family, E.B. had his hair. E.B. was the son. There was one between Dad and him, I believe. And he kept his hair right till the day he died. They I think, buried him on his 70th or 80th birthday, I think it was. But he had his hair all the way. Papa, Dad's dad had his hair right up to the day he died. Worked the coal mines all his life. Had his hair right up.
Brandy
you know.
was picked tomatoes.
Dave, the oldest son, the one that they killed,
I thought,
he had his hair till the day
I
they killed
laughed,
him.
but that was ignorance,
Yeah.
and I just laughed.
Yeah, he was. Now you talk about a big burly man.
People back in the old days, they
Dave
didn't know
Rose was a
California,
big
they thought
burly
maybe
man.
the movie stars were-
if you got in a fight, you'd want to be back to back to him. Cause you know, nobody's gonna get to you in the back. Nobody, they're gonna have to, they'll get through you to the front, cause they wasn't gonna get by Dave. And Dave, see Dave he was, I think, about 4th or 5th in line. So he knew all the boys, you know, all that. And he was the union man.
Do you know about Dave?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the union man, and all them other boys, they go, you know, they were years younger than him, and they'd go out at night and he'd work them the next morning. He said they'd get them in the mines, and I guess the pressure, the way the pressure come down on the rock and the coal sitting in the end of the mine, and Dave would get in there and have all them boys, all them brothers in there with him, which is dangerous, you know. You lose one, you lose them all.
Yeah.
But they get in there working, and Dave would get them boys that were, they you know, he'd go to bed, he was married, had children and everything. In the evening, when he got out of work, he went on, you know, washed, showered up, and went to bed, you know, he got to sleep. Well, you know, young men ain't gonna do that. We'll worry about that next time. Well, when they got home, Dave would be there waiting, getting them up to putting them to work, you know, telling them you gotta sleep in the fore part of the night. That was 4 midnight, you know, and they were young, they didn't want to go out, you know. Yeah. But he would get them brothers of his. Now Jay knew more about the mines than me. I never did care too much about talking about the mines, because Dad worked it and hated every day of it. Mom said he was scared to death that the mines was going to kill him.
Yeah.
He thought a cave-in was going to get him, because he knew so many people. You know, people get killed all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. And they'd get back in the mines, and the mines would be as like wide as that window. Well, sometimes Dave would get a little off that end and a little bit off of this end over here, and that coal, this pressure's up on top, the rock and everything, pushing down on him, and he'd just pop out. And he'd step over that big load of rocks, coal, and go back and do something else to pop out once more. And them boys begged Dave, we got enough. We can't, you're gonna work us to death, because you have to clean the area.
Yeah.
He couldn't go home and he cleaned it up. And he'd work them. He'd work them hard. But he, you know, he was the first son. He was the first son, so they'd beg, Dave, we got enough. We can't get this picked up and everything. But Dave would work.
Oh boy.
But now, Dad would talk a little bit about the mine to me, because I couldn't understand it, you know, because I couldn't understand all the showing, you know, what they called it and all that stuff. But Jay, he knew all that stuff. You know what the engine, you know, the motor, you know.
They would use.
Oh yeah, the terminology and electricity and all that. They got a electric cord that goes down the middle, right? Railroad, just like a little railroad. It's not, they're not that wide as I hear with the big stuff, and it's only wide about like this, and there's a wire right down the middle of it. And there's power, it had power in it. And you could pick it up. And no gloves or nothing. But you had to, there was a combination. You had to pick it up one way and let it down another way, or it would kill you.
Oh jeez.
And so they'd tell you, pick it up left hand. They had a saying or something that they'd say that how to do it. And if you didn't it right, that was the end of it. It was just a live wire, run right down the middle. Like you go out here in the railroad, live wire going right down the middle. But the power, see, they had power right from the front. But that power line, get back up in the mountains, it'd go for miles. Oh yeah. So Dad and Jay knew what they were talking. Jay got a good head. Jay had a good head, and I couldn't talk.
What should I do, Mom? Should I let
I'd
him in or
listen,
what?
but I couldn't learn.